Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for, I know the hour is late. Thank you for staying here with us. The pandemic of alcohol and other substance abuse must be treated as a form of societal mental illness, particularly as it concerns the African community of America. Within that community, we must adopt a posture that regards alcohol and other substance abuse as an epidemic disease that threatens the very core of our capacity to sustain ourselves as a community of people. We must also form more effective community liaisons with education, criminal justice, mental health, and health organizations. We must work with police and community block club organizations to rid neighborhoods of drug houses and drug suppliers, consolidate alcohol and other drug abuse service agencies, increase research efforts, and lobby hard for more funding for early intervention and aftercare programs. We can increase our effectiveness in reducing domestic violence by identifying and addressing the underlying alcohol and other drug issues and creating new linkages between alcohol and drug agencies and child welfare and domestic violence agencies. The core African principle of collective responsibility, UJIMA, and the whole village affirms that we are collectively responsible for our community's children and each other. This is our stand.
On the issue of mental health from the body, any questions? Those in favor of mental health as part of our platform say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you again. On the issue of self-defense and gun control, as part of this platform, we will have Brother Akil.
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and at this convention. I think it's one of the most wonderful things we as a community can do in terms of really bringing forth the issues that affect our community and possibly some solutions that can help rid us of some of the things that are affecting us. Self-defense and gun control. Widespread incidences of assaults, homicide by use of a gun in our community cannot be permitted to become a pretext for the complete disarmament of our community. There has been no experience we have encountered as an African people in America that would justify the total surrender of a right to bear arms and the subsequent trust by our people in the producers of those arms to protect us from the abuses we have historically suffered and do continue to suffer from abusive people at the point of a gun. The basis for this platform, and if we look at it and we look at it good, we'll see that it's not really what it's put up to be. And we should not disarm ourselves as a people. And to illustrate that further, on this paper, if you look in your package, you'll see, and it's on the second page, okay? And I want you to read this paper, even after you leave here, okay? And Charlie Fisher, as well as Jim, and everybody up here knows how to get in touch with me. And I'll debate and discuss this with you anytime. But as it says right here, African American people have owned firearms since emancipation, and we have always been responsible in that ownership. The problem came when we lost control of our communities and our youth. There are other communities in America that are more heavily armed, but there is no killing. There is still a respectful life. We are not incapable of this. Is that true or false? Okay? So what we're talking about is a mindset. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And that's the thing that we have to look at. And we have to look at it very closely. The only reason those young brothers are out there with those AKs and Tech-9 is because the men in the community haven't stood up. Okay? The men can go out there and get the guns from the boys. But as long as we rely on somebody else, okay, government, police, to do the kinds of things that we as men and women should do, then it's going to continue to be held in this community. So the whole thing is that we have to stand up, and the men in this community must stand up and say, look here, young fella, give up the gun. And that's the only way. The other thing that I want to talk about on this platform is the criminal justice system needs to impose stiffer penalties on violent crimes. I case an example is I got a godson that just lost his life 9 months ago. The DA is telling us already, well, we may be only able to give him 2.5, maybe 3 years. He took a life. That was somebody's daughter, that was somebody's son, that was somebody's grandson, it was my godson. And the DA saying, well, I'm getting letters from his employers that he was okay. So what kind of message are we sending to those young people? That it's okay to take life.
The speaker's time has expired.
So, I open for questions.
Any questions from the floor on the issue of self-defense? Brother Robinson.
One of the prime considerations that we've got to deal with in our community is the fear of weaponry and the idea that the gun is somehow more responsible than the individual. How do you plan to educate as part of this platform? Education has to be a major aspect of it.
Yes, education is key. And one of the things that I've addressed is that, like I say, we as the men, we must step forward. And as in previous, history shows that we taught young men the proper use of firearms. Until that proper use is taught by us as adults, then we can forget about it. So I'm saying that education is, I'm a certified rifle pistol instructor for the National Rifle Association, those of you know me, and I'm always holding classes trying to get people to come in and say, let's learn the safety aspects of this, okay? So it's like I say, it's not the gun, it's the mind behind the gun. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the floor on the issue of self-defense, gun control? Yes, sir.
Brother, I just want to know your perspective or opinion on this situation when it's not the gun, but does gun control deal with getting the gun away from those who can't control it? As far as it's a mindset. They say the most effective nonviolence training is mental self-defense. So the thing is, if a person is walking with a gun, they're insecure and they're paranoid, and they have a gun on the side, and all of a sudden the gun is sewn into their body as a part of their body and becomes like their fist. I mean, they want to swing the fist, it's the gun, because they insecure, they're paranoid, and the gun is on them. It's like creating another part of their body. So what's the perspective?
Well, all I have to do is go back in terms of the mind behind the gun. I've carried a gun for over 25 years, okay? And what I tell my students is when you carry a gun, you will end up taking more than you would if you didn't carry a gun, because you know what you have the capabilities of. So it's about training, it's about instruction, it's about education.
Comment on the gun issue. A lot of people don't know. Canisius College has
Wait now. Talk into the mic so you can hear. Your name? And
Ladina Clyburn.
thank you.
Canisius College has a gun range. It's a high school right out in Chitawanda. They have a range right on the high school. Suburban kids can take those classes as a class, okay, and get a credit for it, graduate. But your black child don't have that, okay, which is being taught the proper way. Okay, so what he's trying to say, the person with the gun, is how you taught. If you're taught, you're taught, the black child is taught not to have the gun, unless you were brought up in the South and you were taught to hunt or use it constructively. Okay, these kids that have guns is not being taught constructively. Where are they getting guns from? Question that. Where are your kids getting a gun from? They're either breaking into a home where a gun owner has acquired, took a class, got the gun legal. He broke into your home and took the gun, or either he bought it illegally. Okay, I think that the law should be changed to when someone shoots somebody and take a life, that's where the person should be prosecuted the,
For the extent of the law.
for the fully extent of the law, and not the person that is taking time to do the right thing by having a weapon. There's a lot of people walking around on the street that have guns on them. You would never know that they had that weapon on them. They had no intention on hurting anybody. So I hope I answered your question, because they're just being properly trained, and you're not being educated yourself in the proper way on how to think. You're constantly being confused by other people. Okay, and I hope I answered your question.
Could I just fill in on that?
The chair will stipulate that your comment was to the chair, to the brother, and you were not having a private conversation with him. All right, thank you. We just want to set anything, any false procedures going here. All right, Mr. Chair.
I'd just like to say one thing because of what the sister was saying. There's over 32 colleges that give scholarships for shooting. 32. How many people knew that? Shooting is an Olympic sport. But we have a negative mindset when it comes to our young people and shooting. And what I tell our young people is like the gun can take you to jail or it can take you to college. It depends on the mind behind the gun. Thank you very much.
Moving swiftly to the floor on the issue of self-defense and gun control to the platform. Is that a question?
I'm still a little bit up here. Sorry.
Pardon me. Would the delegate go to the mic?
Need a name and a mic.
Please. Thank you very much. Yeah, you know the rules. You've been part of the planet. Come on. It's getting late now, Bill. Come on.
Name and speak in the mic.
My name is Juliet Black, and I'm an intern for Charlie Fisher. I was just a little unclear as far as like what kind of mindset is a gun owner supposed to have as an African American or African living in America in order for them to like not just think of the weapon as a trigger finger, as a fist. And I oppose. So.
Okay, and that's one of the things about this convention, okay? Because we as a community are number one, right? And the whole thing is everybody get a chance to kind of look at things from both sides and perspectives. Like I started out, I said the gun is an inanimate object. It's just like a knife, it's just like a baseball bat or anything else, okay? It's a tool, and how it's used is entirely dependent on the mindset that the person has. And what I'm saying here in our paper, position paper, is we're going to try to get as much support as we can from this community to properly educate people as far as that particular tool and its proper use.
Fine. Thank you very much. Yes.
Question to the left of the floor.
Yes.
Name and question.
Yes, my name is Barbara Kerr, and I was listening about the issue about the guns. And for those of us here that believes in the Holy Bible, God's Word, in the book of Hosea 4:2, it says, bloodshed follows bloodshed. First, before we can get rid of the guns, we got to get rid of the abortion. Because as a lady said, Mother Teresa, if we can allow people to kill their babies in the womb, then why not shoot someone? And that's the mindset of some of these people.
I also, Reverend James Kirk. I understand what you're saying about the mindset, but I'm kind of disagreeing with what you're saying on the mind issue, because I'm also a New York State Correction Officer, and we train. We have the best training program in the state of New York as far as weapon training. And we have trained police officers, we have trained correction officers that kill people with guns. So what are you going to do about the person's mind? You cannot change a person's mind. You cannot do that as a human being. But we know that the Word of God said, out of the abundance of a man's heart, evil comes from the man's heart. What is in that man's heart causes him to commit murder with a gun or with anything else. So I think we are missing the boat when we're talking about the mindset. We should be talking about what's in the man's heart, and that way as far as getting a man to turn to his spirituality as Jesus Christ to get his heart right, then we can eliminate the guns.
Mr. Chairman, the essence and the task before this group is to attempt to pass this plank as printed in the book. The concept and the use of the word mindset was what the speaker had used in order to enhance this presentation. However, nowhere in the printed text that I've been able to find the word mindset, so that perhaps mindset in concept becomes substantive, but in terms of the task that we have before us, it may not be. If it, again, as the plan and the planners had wished, that if this is something that needs to have further study, then it should be moved to the community voice meetings on a Monday night. Okay?
To the body, are there any further questions? We will move towards a vote on this. All in favor of self-defense and gun control being included in the platform, please give a voice vote by saying aye. All opposed? Thank you. We continue to reason on. I want to thank the front row, both sides, the one that alerted me that I skipped past the housing platform, and I also want to thank Mother Sims and Mother Robinson for their gentle spirit, one that seems to say, I ain't no ways tired, and though the hour grows late, we move swiftly on. We will return to the housing platform at this time, and again, we will have Brother Nathan here address that.
Before I address the housing platform, let me just help people to be clear about what just took place. Because we did not reach consensus on the self-defense gun control platform, that issue is going to be moved to the body of YPC's meetings, in their Monday meetings, and will be further deliberated for future presentation. Okay, just let you clear. This is a consensus convening. We understand that, right? Okay. On the housing issue, hundreds of thousands of African people across America and thousands here in Buffalo are stranded in substandard public housing projects that provide them with no stake in the day-to-day decision-making that governs so much of their lives, and no ability to affect the physical quality of their existence in those public housing units. We must achieve fundamental changes in public and assisted housing rules that have locked families into substandard housing, impeded their ability to move to self-sufficiency, and have allowed badly managed agencies and absentee landlords to operate without consequence. What this plank essentially is talking about, in our public housing and our HUD subsidized housing initiatives in this country, people become locked into organizations or structures that are developed by municipal housing organizations in their localities. What is being suggested is that if we give individuals the dollar value in voucher form of what it would cost for those individuals to live in subsidized housing and allow them to carry that dollar value out into the open marketplace, you would have individuals who have very low incomes who are able to live in good quality standard housing, paying the kinds of fair market rates that those kinds of housings call for. Otherwise, you wind up with large concentrations of very poor people living in very concentrated substandard housing, which just further exacerbates the socioeconomic conditions that produce undereducation, that produce the kinds of subcultures and the kinds of incidents of involvement in juvenile justice and criminal justice that we see pandemic amongst our people. That, in essence, is what this plan calls for. Any questions on that?
Eula Naylor, I have a question. With the economics, the way they are today, what kind of safeguards can you put on a homeowner who has been going through some hard times and have to reach out and get some assistance from down at the Department of Social Services, and they have to put a lien on their home?
Somewhat outside of the umbrella of what this plan called for, and I'm not sure how to respond to that. I think that it's clear that we do have situations that occur within the structure of the Department of Social Services where liens are placed on homes of people who themselves are on public assistance. Question on the floor.
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Just for the record, your name?
Bessie Robinson.
Thank you.
Juneteenth Committee. I would like to know what our people, not depending on the other people all the time to implement the programs in our community, there's any number of vacant houses that could be rehabilitated. People could be living. Why can't we institute programs similar to the how the home thing? We have to do some of these things ourselves, and we can't always depend on other people. And there are houses, one right next door to me is empty, one right straight across the street from me is empty, and I drive every day, every other day going to the clinic, and I see more houses boarded up that could be rehabilitated. And why can't someone get the money to, everybody has to get money to do the things they want to do. But somehow it seems that we don't put the emphasis on it that we should. And I think that's one thing you should look into. Thank you.